Today we're going to talk about a really dirty word. So we're going to talk about selling. So if I go back to 2 years ago, when I first left my corporate job and came into the skin space, the thought of selling made me feel a certain kind of way. And over the last couple of years, the more people I speak to in our industry, the more that sounds really common and something that's now in the position that I'm in, it's just completely unnecessary. So today we're going to debunk that and we're going to turn selling from being icky to being really exciting. So if you are a female service business owner, you're incredible at what you do, but selling makes you feel that certain kind of way. So words that came to mind for me were uncomfortable, sleazy, like a bit pushy, and it just made me feel all around just gross. If I asked you to sell something right now, so if I stood in front of you and you said sell to me, if you put in the chat a word that comes to mind, so they were mine, like uncomfortable, sleazy, pushy were my words, what would yours be? Let me just see if I can see the chat at the same time I was doing this. That would be helpful, wouldn't it? Petrified, awkward, cringe, petrified. That's a big word. So that really hits so kind of that it really hits a nerve for you. That's again exactly where I was a couple of years ago. It yeah, just couldn't face it. So let's change that. So a little bit about me. So for those of you that don't know me already, I'm a profit strategist. I made hundreds of millions for corporations over the last 12 years in finance, and then I turned into a skin clinic CEO. Turned out corporate life, I just wasn't a very good employee, if I'm being honest. I am a mum to three boys. I am a big lover of food. Anything sweet, I just can't say no to. I was a former accountant, but not what you think of. It was basically going into businesses that were struggling. I would identify any holes, any gaps, any opportunities, and create strategy plans on how to fill those and how to maximize those, and then execute them. So very similar to what we're doing today. I went on to retrain in laser and skin and closed the door on my corporate job. I had 3 months worth of savings left, and basically this just had to work. I went from 0 to 5K months in 3 months. I had that numbers increased now, but I have memberships on repeat, so I'd never start a month on zero. I took just shy of 20K on Black Friday last year, and I onboarded 197 clients in 2025. So I've gone from someone that the word selling made my toes curl and made me I just couldn't speak, or I would speak, but I'd be like, it would just all come out. Um, to someone that I just feel like I've got this down now. Well, yeah, I'm pretty okay at it now. And since starting to work with other clinic owners these last few months, we've started to be very strategic in like, this is the number that I want to hit, or this is the life that I want to live. This is the plan on how we need to get there. But the block has been around selling, not the plan, not the design, none of that. It's come to actually executing where everyone's gone, I don't know how to do that. And that is where this masterclass has come from. So, going back to me 2 years ago, I was posting and hoping, thinking that just posting reels, putting pictures on my stories, and crossing my fingers would mean that DMs would flood in and bookings would flood in with them. And yeah, I had a few, but it just wasn't quick enough. Like I said, I had 3 months to make this work. And if I couldn't sell my services, I would have no business and I would have to go back to a desk. And that just, for me, wasn't an option. And then everything changed. And that's what we're going to go through today. So if 2026 for you is the year that you start taking selling seriously, get ready to have a lot more clients and the right ones and make a lot more money. So step one, we are going to reframe what selling is. So instead of thinking of selling, so for me, I thought car salesman, I thought Del Boy from Only Fools and Horses. I thought it was just pushy, aggressive, like market stall type of selling. When actually, I was completely wrong, and so are many of us. We aren't banging on people's doors, we aren't forcing them into something that they don't want. Selling is a service and a solution. Every client you come across has an insecurity. Like, if you think of your ideal client now, just someone that comes to you and sits in your chair for whatever service that they have, and you just love her, like you could just squeeze her. What insecurity did she have when she came to you? that you could help her with, or just think of your ideal client in general and pop in the chat, what is her insecurity that you can help her with? So, giving you an example for me, it was girls with PCOS. So, my ideal client is a girl with PCOS. She's insecure about her excess hair. I can solve that problem with my laser hair removal. So, what insecurity does yours have? So, pigmentation, yeah, oh, that's massive. Acne, that's huge. I used to get that really badly all across my chest and my back. That's another one that I can really feel people with. It's awful, isn't it? So she might not know that there's a solution. So taking my PCOS girl as an example, she might just think that she's sat at home and she's just like, this is just me. This is just the way that I am. I just have to deal with it. I just have to get on with it. And confidence just isn't going to be a thing that I'll have. And I just have to accept it. And is that fair? So is it fair of me to know that I can help someone that feels that way, that feels like she can't wear a bikini, feels like she can't wear shorts in the summer, that she has to shave constantly, take one with her everywhere, that she might have excess growth on her face? That's really common with PCOS. Like, is it fair of me not to outwardly talk about my services and outwardly talk about the solution to that problem that could make her feel incredible? It's not. And that's what selling is. It's not pushing something on someone that they don't want. It's just presenting the solution. So her problem goes hand in hand with your solution, and all you're doing is connecting the two. So to do that, we need to come up with the offer. So we know we've got an ideal client that suffers with acne or pigmentation or hair or whatever it might be. We know we can help her. So how do we design an offer that bridges those two? So the thing around it all is clarity. So confusion kills confidence both ways. So if you create confusion when you're selling, they will have less confidence in you. If they are confused, they won't buy from you. And if you are confused, you won't sell clearly. So it just creates a whole mess. It just creates chaos. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a little exercise. So I want you to think about one thing that you want to sell this month. So I know I've been speaking to a couple of you on WhatsApp messages, and we're thinking about Valentine's coming up and wanting to do something around that. So it might be that you want to do something specifically around that concern. So you might want to put something together specifically for acne. You might want to do something for like a Valentine's treat, like a Galentine's type of thing. I know a couple of girls I spoke to were talking about doing like a Galentine's glass skin. Yeah, bio repeal, perfect. So pick one thing that we're going to sell this month and let's just map it out really quickly and gain that clarity. So let's make a note of what it is that you want to sell is the first step. Second is thinking about the transformation. So the transformation being, how will that client feel? So as she sat at home right now, how does the client that you need to sell to, how does she feel? Is she confused? Is she uncomfortable? Is she just not confident? Is she having to wear loads of makeup to just get out the front door? Like, what is it that she's feeling right now? And then how will she feel afterwards? So after this, say you're selling just one individual treatment, how will she feel after the one? Will she feel a little bit more confident? Will she feel like she's on the path to getting it treated? Will she feel relaxed? Will she feel like she's found a bit of freedom? She doesn't have to rely on makeup every day. Will it just be ease? Because, like, say, if it's skincare, well, it's just the comfort of knowing that it's sorted and she doesn't have to be confused anymore because she's got a nice plan to work from. So, what is it we're selling? And then what is the transformation to the client beforehand? How does she feel, her concerns, etc.? And how will she feel afterwards? Because that's going to be really key when it comes to selling, because people don't come to us for a specific item, they come to us for the outcome. Next, and if I'm going too fast, please tell me to just stop and be quiet. Next, we're going to cover what is included. So to give her that transformation, what is it that you will need to do in that treatment? So for example, if we did glass skin, so I know I was talking to a couple of you about like the glass skin, whether you do Korean glass skin or just generalized glass skin, you might throw in, so you know the treatment itself, And then you might have, for example, while they've got the mask on, you might do a nice neck and shoulder massage to make it a little bit more special. You might do, while she's under the LED, a bit of a scalp rejuvenation treatment with the high frequency wand or something like that. You might do, like last year, I gave everybody a little gift, like a little chocolate gift. M&S do these little Spencer bears or little love hearts. They're about £1 each. And honestly, when you leave, when the client's left and you just give them a little treat, the smile on the faces, they just felt really special. And that was just, yeah, it's just really nice. So write down what is included. So it might be the treatment itself, any little extras you're throwing in to make it a bit more of an offer rather than just a standard treatment. If you are doing something around Valentine's, for example, and if there's any little bonuses you want to throw in. And it's not about extending your time. It's like I was saying then. So it's whilst they are under a certain part of the treatment, if they've got a mask element that they have to have on for a certain amount of time, as long as it doesn't disrupt that element of the treatment, if there's something else you can do to make that client feel in line with that transformation, so feel more relaxed or feel more special or feel more confident, then if we can throw that in when it doesn't cost us that much extra, then it's fantastic. Which is my next part. Obviously, the accountant in me cannot avoid this topic. So, what does that then cost you? So, you've got that breakdown of what's included. What is the cost? So, there's three steps to this. So, the first one, and again, you don't need to work it all out right now, but if you just make a note that you need to understand what the cost of that is to you. So, how much, those steps that you've just written down, you need to be able to put a cost next to each one of those for you. So, when it comes to the treatment itself, it's things like the products that you're using, and whether it's single use or whether it's actual treatment elements like cleansers, etc. itself. It's things like your overheads, so what your hourly overhead charges to yourself, so things like your rent, rates, marketing, all that sort of stuff. That's the cost to you. Second one is how much is it then worth? So if you were to sell all of those things individually, how much would you sell them all for? So if you're someone that does, you might do LED as an add-on, or you might do a neck and shoulder as an add-on. It might be an extra £25, or it might be an extra £30. Or you might not have it as an add-on at all, but you possibly could do. What can you assign as a value to each of those elements? So it might be that your glass skin is 97, your neck and shoulder is 25, scalp rejuvenation is 25, and your LED is 25. And then that brings you up a package of just shy of 175. And then the third one is how much you're then going to charge. So what we've not built into that, if you're self-employed, is everyone here self-employed? Or are you employed? Yeah. So when you're self-employed, you pay yourself out of the margin. So the margin is the gap. So you've got what we just worked out. So how much that treatment cost you, your direct cost of the products. So to physically in the room do that treatment. So your cleanser, your masks, your all that sort of stuff is your direct cost. Then you've got your overheads. So all your everything else that allows you to be in that room. So your rent, your rates, your utilities, your marketing costs. If you've got social media managers, anything else goes into that pot is that second one in overheads. And then the gap between that total cost and what you charge the client is your margin. Within that margin, you've got to do multiple things. You've got to be able to, one, pay yourself. And we aren't just turning up to work, stacking a shelf and going home. It's not an easy life like that. You can get paid quite well now, just turn up, go to Asda, do your job and go home. We're taking on so much stress, so much worry, so much anxiety, so much all the other things that you have to be a business owner. So we need to be earning more than minimum wage per hour. Like, in my view, significantly more to make up for everything else that comes with being a business owner. So we need to make sure we're paying ourselves. We need to make sure we've got enough in that pot for our tax, our VAT, if that applies to ourselves, all the business elements that we just don't have a choice and we just have to pay. And then reinvest into the business. So say you know you want to have a high frequency machine or a laser or whatever it might be, or to bring in a new product line, because that's not cheap anymore. If there's anything you want to do to reinvest into the business, that also needs to be within your margin. So if you're charging £30 for a facial and you're taking home £5 out of that because it costs you 25, that's not going to be enough for all that other stuff. So that's where we'd really have to look at price and decide what that price point is to sell this treatment to the client. So I know that's a lot of numbers talk. It's not what you came for, but it's all well and good selling and selling and selling. If you're not taking any money home, then there's no point. It's got to be that balance of both. We've got to sell to bring money in, but we need to make sure the money we're bringing in is enough to sustain our business, our lifestyle, and everything that goes with it. So being clear on the cost. And then when is it available? So when are they going to be able to, one, buy this treatment, and two, have this treatment? So it might be that you can start secret selling today in your DMs, but you might only want them to book in from February onwards. Or you might want to build your waitlist today, allow them to book in February, or like start booking on your system in February, 4 slots in March. So it's completely up to you what you want to do. You open your books now, you sell now, and they can book whenever they want. Or you start building a wait list to open your books on a specific date. They can then book in for whenever they want. Or on that specific date, they can book, but for a future date. So it depends on your diary. If you look at your diary and you look for any white space, that's when you want to push to fill. So if you're looking ahead at February and you're like, week 3 is looking a little bit quiet, that's where I need to push bookings in, then that would be the week that you try and push everybody for, if that makes sense. They could start booking it now, they would have the treatment in that week. And then how do they buy? So if you've got a booking system, for example, we would need to set all this up on your booking system before you allow them to book. Otherwise, you get yourself in a bit of a mess. And if you don't have a booking system and you use a paper, like you have a paper system, it's just about getting yourself organized so that when you have this influx of bookings, you don't get yourself again in a mess with who's requested a date, who's not, who you're waiting to hear back from. It just needs to be nice and simple and nice and organized. So what are you selling? Coming up with the actual treatment itself. What is the transformation? Because this is what I'm going to sell to the client. They don't want the treatment, they want the outcome. They want that change in how they feel, how they look, their confidence, whatever their pain point we originally identified is, that is what they want. So that's how we'll sell it. What is included? Be really clear on what's included in it. So if anybody asks you, it rolls off the tongue. What is the cost? Those 3 steps. When is it available? So when can they book from? And when can they book in? And then how do they buy? And getting anything set up ahead of time that needs to be set up. So then you are super clear on everything. Everything's nice, streamlined. We're not stressing. It's lovely and organized. So now we know what we're selling. Now we need to sell. So we need to find people to sell to. So this is lead generation. So this is where we need to find leads. So leads are potential clients. So just for today's purposes, we're going to focus on 3 different types that are nice and quick and nice and easy. So the first one I call a hot lead, which sounds a bit strange. Hot leads, these are people that have been with you before. So there's something we need to build with clients called the know, like, and trust factor. So someone that's been to you before already knows you, they already like you, otherwise they wouldn't have booked, and they already trust you, or they wouldn't have booked. So these are the quick wins. So the first thing, now we've got our offer ready and we know what it is we're selling, the first thing we want to do is go back into our client list. So whether that is your system or your diary or whatever it is that you use, and message on whatever it is that individual uses. So whether it's WhatsApp, Instagram, iMessage, whatever it is that they use, message them all individually. And I know that sounds really annoying, but instead of sending just a broad brush broadcast, these are clients that, like, say, you already know, so you can leverage that. And I know that sounds a bit awful, but you know things about them, like you know the treatment they came to have last time, so you know their pain point. So you can ask them specifically about that. Or you know that they've just had someone's birthday, or you know that they've just had something going on in their life. And if that's something that you struggle to remember, I don't know if you use, like, for example, if you use a booking system, there's always tends to be notes that you can now attach to the client. If they've ever said anything in that appointment that you're like, I need to remember that to ask them about it next time, just make a note against that client in that appointment booking. Honestly, it makes such a difference to the client when you can ask them about something that they mentioned in the last appointment. The next time that they come, it makes them feel like, oh my God, she's remembered that. Like, she must really value me. Like, oh, how nice is that she remembered it was my sister's birthday or something like that. From a client experience point, it's just a really good little tip. And I just popped the message being like, hey, whatever the name is. So, hey, Susan, just wanted to pop you a quick message. So, like, hey, Susan, no, I've not seen you in a while. How are you? Link it back to something you know about them. So, hey, Susan, sorry I've not caught up with you in a while. I've got a Galentine's offer or whatever you want to call it coming up that I know you'll love. It includes such thing that you had last time, or I know you mentioned wanting such a result. that you'll absolutely love this, or do you know what I mean? Like link it back to something that you know about them, rather than just being like, "Hey Susan, got an offer coming up. Know you'll like it. Want the details?" She'll just read it and be like, "Oh right, okay." Whereas if you're like, "Hey Susan, how are you? How's such thing?" Just thought I'd pop you a quick message because I've got this Galentine's offer coming up, and it includes the bio repeal that I know you were talking about trying, or it gives you that lovely glass skin that I know you mentioned really wanting last time. Would you like me to send you the details? And she'll just feel much more connected, and it'll skip again that no like trust factor. Even though you've already got it to begin with, it just shoots you to the end, because you make her feel really good and really special. And again, I know going through everybody and doing that sounds like a lot of work when you're trying to link it all back. But in terms of client retention, it's so much easier to keep hold of the clients you've already got than it is to go out and find 100 new ones. So if you can make each client that you already have feel incredible and special and like you really value them, because we all do, then little things like this, I know it'll take longer, but if you just do it in little bits, like block out half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon, for example, it honestly it'll pay back in full. The next ones are warm. So these are people that are in your DMs. We've got hot are people that have been physically to you, seen you, lay in your bed, sat in your chair. Warm are people that are in your DMs. So they've either spoken to you before, they've asked or they've inquired about something before, or they've replied to a story about your outfit or whatever it might be, but they're in your DMs for one reason or another. So these are people that we don't want to go in hard with an offer to. We want to create a conversation around. So it might just be, again, looking at what they said last time, and it might be you've not spoken to them since before Christmas. But again, hey, lovely, so sorry I've not caught up with you for a couple of months. The January, that chill January we talked about, like, just doesn't exist. I don't know what's gone on. How are you? How is such thing? Or how's your skin doing? Or how's your whatever concern it is that they came in for doing. Again, create it back to what you know about them or what the conversation was. And the good thing with this is you can just scroll up, see what the conversation was about, and just link it back in some way if you can. So it's like a continuation, they're more likely to reply that way. And we are genuinely interested. Like we do want to know if they've had a nice Christmas, or we do want to know if they're okay in January and they've skipped out on the January blues, or like how they're doing after the storms and or whatever it is that you want to, or how they're feeling about the Beckham thing. That's a good thing to talk to people about at the minute. Like, bloody hell, you know that about David and Victoria? Like, which team are you on? That's a good one to have. And when they reply, that's when you can lead in that same sort of way, being like, oh, actually, I'm just working on this offer. This Galentine's offer, I know you mentioned glass skin a couple of weeks ago, or last time we spoke. Would you like me to send you the details? Or I know you mentioned having issues with like dullness in your skin or issues with pigmentation, da da da. This will really help you with that. Would you like me to send you the details across? So start soft first and then lead it to the offer. And then cold. Cold are people that you haven't spoken to yet. So they've not been into you, they've not been into your chair, not been on your bed. They've not been on your DMs, but they are in your audience. So they're just quietly sat there watching. So they're just viewing your stories and seeing what it is that you're doing. So you treat them a little bit differently. 1 second. So what I want you to do, sorry, I thought I'd skip town something then. That's me, just having a moment. So what I want you to do is do something called unlocking your stories. So this might look like it's a little bit random. So to unlock the people that are sat on the fence, we don't want to talk about skin. We don't want to talk about hair. We don't want to talk about anything to do with what we do, which I know sounds backwards, but just bear with me for a second. So the people that are sat on the fence need a little bit of encouragement to come around sometimes. So what I like to do is just take something personal. So something that's, again, nothing related to what I do, but is more personal. If it's a little bit funny or a little bit off the cuff or a little bit strange, the better, because people are more likely to reply. So what I did, got it last year now, we went on a hen do, and it was my best friend's hen do. And I got these little bride banner things printed, and we took them there and I put them up all around the villa. And there was a debate going on between us because she thought she was a ghost because her theme was R.I. Pearson, so because her surname was Pearson. And she was looking at, I could see her really confused looking at this banner. And I'm like, what's the matter? She's like, am I a ghost? Like, no, no, no. It's a bride, it's a veil. Like that's what it is. And we had an internal like hen do debate whether she was a ghost or a bride. So I put that to my stories. I was like, look, like I need to settle something for me. There was a debate at dinner. For context, this is this. Is she both? So I took something from my life that was happening, that was genuinely happening, and I put it on my stories. Nothing to do with skin, nothing to do with my job at all. And I took a screenshot not long after and had 35 votes within, I don't even know when that screenshot was taken. Um, and that's 35 people then that I could message back to and just start a conversation with. So this is what I want you to do. So I want you to put, after all that work we've done just then, I also want you to do this. I want you to put a story, think about something that's gone on in your life recently, or it could even be the Beckham stuff, like something that's going on in like pop culture that's a little bit controversial, and put a poll or a sticker tag. Polls are really good because it's just quite interesting to know about the people as well. Put a poll up, and then we're going to reply to everybody relating to that poll. Again, nothing to do with skin, nothing to do with your offer at the start. You're going to reply. So, for example, the people that voted Ghost are like, oh my God, can't believe you thought that as well. It's like, I bought it thinking it would be a bride and she was so confused. Ha ha ha, how are you? Or how are you? Like, or something like that leading into conversation. Same with bride. Oh my goodness, thank you so much for being on my side. Just like leading into a conversation. Get that conversation flowing, and then you introduce the offer. So it's all conversation first, offer second. And then this is the bit again, everyone curls their toes at. It's the follow-up. This can make people feel a little bit uncomfortable. But I just want you to remember this. Life is busy, send the message. So everyone that you send messages to, I want you to do, I know it's more work, but just whether it's your notes app, whether it's Google Doc, whether it's a notepad that you keep in your desk or in your drawer or in your bag, but make a note of everybody, and I mean everybody that you have messaged. So where they're up to in the client journey. So your client journey goes from them receiving that first message that you sent all the way through to them booking in for the treatment and turning up. And it's all the stages in between that you need to be tracking. So you put the person's name. It's like Susan that we said before, we put Susan's name. I'd put her name, what she is, existing client, hot lead, cold lead, to identify what she is, because that will mean that they'll move through the process at different speeds. So Susan, she's an existing client, sent initial offer message, and then on such and such a date. So I sent the initial offer message on Monday the 1st. And then if she hasn't replied, I know then, just by looking through my notes, right, she's not replied, I'll follow her up after 24 hours. And you can, it's really easy to keep track then, especially when people start replying, they're the ones that are interested and they're the ones that we need to keep an eye on. So for those that you don't hear back from straight away after sending the offer details to, we're just going to give them a little nudge 24 hours later because life is busy. Because I don't know about you, but I hardly ever reply straight away. Like I joke with my friends that I need an out of office sort of reply on my WhatsApp because it takes me a good 3 to 5 business days to get back to everybody at the best of times. Like again, 3 bids, 3 kids, 2 businesses, a husband that works away. My life is chaotic, as is many of our clients. So they'll be doing the exact same thing I am. They'll be picking the phone up, opening a message, getting distracted, putting it down, thinking they've replied when they haven't. So that's just what we're going to give them a little nudge with. Because again, I do it all the time. I'll go to book in for my nails and I'll think I've sorted it out and I'll think I've done it. And then I can't remember the woman's name or the Instagram handle or anything like that to go back to. And I then miss the appointment. I don't get it because I can't find the person in the message. And yeah, I end up being the one that suffers as the one wanting to be a client. So what we're going to do is we're just going to give them a little, hey, lovely, just wanted to double check that you got my last message. And either, would you like me to send the details? Would you like to send me your availability over so we can get you booked in? Would you like me to send you some availability over so we can get you booked in? Just a little, like really gentle, like just to get you back into that conversation. And then we're going to leave it again. So it's for people like me that think they've replied when they haven't, their life is busy, they want to book, they just have just been, again, like me, very silly and have forgotten all about it. We're just making sure that we give them the information the best way that we can. And think how that would make me feel as that person wanted to book that appointment. Like, oh, thank God. Like, thank God she did that because I didn't have a bloody clue what her Instagram name was. Because it's hard to remember, isn't it? Like, it's so busy. So we're going to give her a little nudge. 24 hours later, just a, hey, lovely, just wanted to double check that you got my last message. You can leave it there if you like to, or you can encourage with, would you like me to send you the details, or following on from what the last stage of the conversation was. So I know I've just brain dumped a lot at you. Has anyone got any big questions now, or are we happy to go on to the last step? Oh, that in the chat. Money was a big concern. Yeah. A good one for money when people are saying about the price is the question of if this was free, would you want it? So if I could give you whatever it was that she came in with the concern of, if I could give you that today for free, would you want it? And if her answer is yes, like, right, okay, so it's not okay, so we do want this then. So what's the block? If it's not, you can work with money, we can work around that, whether it is you can come up with a plan, payment structures, like all these different things, or tweak things down, but not in terms of knocking your price down, but in terms of the level, the extent of the treatment that she wants. There's always options and there's always flex around it. But she does really want that outcome. It's just finding a way to make that work for her. So it might be that she has treatments every 6 weeks, so she can pay in 1 month a deposit and in another month the other half of the deposit. You do it 50-50 split, and she just has 6 weekly appointments until she starts seeing the transformation, and then she will absolutely come every 4 weeks because she'll make it work, for example. Fab. So, number five for the girl with the goals, because we are all here because we have them. Like, we are all sat in this room because we want 2026 to be the year that we stop looking at vision boards on our phone. I don't know about you, that's the year for me. I am sick of looking at my vision board on my phone and being like, I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll have this thing. And last year I sat and I did what I had done for 12 years at work and I planned it properly. I properly put down on paper what it was that I was going to do to hit those numbers and to hit those goals. And that's one of the reasons why I had a really great year last year. And it didn't stress me out because I knew exactly what I was doing. So, what you've just learned, I know I've just brain dumped a lot and talked very fast, but what you've just learned will get you incredible results. It really will, but there's a lot that we haven't even touched on yet. You're going to have questions about your offer and how you make it irresistible. You are going to get DMs that you just don't know how to respond to because, especially when you're starting and it's uncomfortable and you're doing that work to get from discomfort to confidence, it just takes a little bit of trial and error, and that's absolutely fine. You'll want to reach more people than just your audience, and you're going to want to unlock more leads than just that one type of story can bring you. And the big one, you'll want to learn sale frameworks that you can use on repeat, not just in February, but for the rest of your business. And if we covered all that in 30 minutes, oh, spot on, 30 minutes, imagine what we could do in 4 weeks. So this is what I'm going to talk to you about, a selling sprint I am doing in February. So we are doing a 4 week intimate, and I mean intimate, group mentorship program to find more clients and sell with ease on repeat. This is not a here's a huge portal, off you go, I'm out type of 4 weeks. The reason it's intimate is because this is very much me and you on the end of the phone. Screenshot me DMs, send me any story ideas. What do I say to such body? How do I do my offer? I'm on the end of the phone. That's why it's such a small group. If you have big goals for your business and you know you have to make the sales to get there, but you either don't know how, it makes you feel really uncomfortable and icky. All the words we used at the beginning of this call, so you avoid it. Or you do sell and you do get some results, but it just isn't enough or it isn't consistent. There's too many peaks and troughs, and it's not enough to give you that vision board you spent all December making. It's the same as I was talking about earlier. It's all well and good having this. I want 10K months. These are how many things I need to sell. This is what my treatments are, and I need to sell X amount a week to be able to hit that number. That's fantastic. But if you get stuck on the sell part, we're never going to get there. So this is what we're going to do. So it's split into 4 weeks. There are 2 calls per week. One is live and one is pre-recorded. So there's no big time pressure on this. And all this, and I know I said there's no big huge portal. It's all done in the left app. It all drips feed through. So we'll have week one, a call around reframing. So mindset is like groundworks to a building. Without it, everything comes crashing down. So we're going to reframe what selling is and unpick deeper money blocks and other mental blocks that you didn't even know existed, and how to overcome what I call subconscious sabotage. Like, you are standing in your own way and it's uncomfortable and it's hard, but we can sidestep really simply after doing a really simple piece of work. Next, we want to design your offers. So we went through really quickly today how to do just one. So whether you want to have a good overhaul of your menu, or you want to have a look at how we can structure out the month together and pick which different things we'll pick in different weeks. So you have your high price points and your low price points aligning with pay schedules, for example. We can do that together. And we need to make sure these items on this menu align with you as you are now. So not you when you started your business a couple of years ago, not what you think your clients want or not what people have got used to. It's you now. What do you love? Again, how I mentioned at the beginning, if someone came and sat in, think of the last time someone was sat in your chair or lay on your bed and you were like, you looked at your sister and you're like, oh, I love her. I love this treatment. Like I love her and I love this treatment. And then there's a very big difference in how you feel when you look at your booking system and you see a treatment that you're just like, oh, I don't like this. But I'm doing it because it's always been there, or I'm doing it because such a body loves it. So we'll create a menu or create offers that just you love, so you never have to look at your booking system and dread it again. It'll give your clients incredible results. We'll get really clear on that offer journey, so the transformation journey, so we can get clear content plans out off the back of it. And most importantly, we'll design them in a way, typically, that will make you money. So week two, so we went over lead generation in just 3 steps in about 5 minutes on this call. So we're going to do a really deep dive into lead gen. So more leads and more sales. That's generally it's just a numbers game, and that's how it works. It's called law of numbers. And this is always the part that gives people the ick at the beginning. So don't worry, as well as going through it and holding your hand, I'm at the end of the phone literally for anything. Screenshot me whatever you want, send me whatever you want, ask me whatever you want. And there's also going to be plenty of DM scripts and things like that in there, which ties in with that confident conversations. So lead gen, finding the clients, confident conversations is how we talk to them. We turn them from a lead to a client. Week three, outreach. So at the moment, all we've looked at today is how to speak to people that already know you exist. But that's such a small pool when you look at your area. And that's what we're going to tap into, but not in a way that, again, we're not cold calling, we're not banging on doors. This is very different and it's dual ended. We're not just looking at Instagram, we're not just looking at social media, we're not just looking at mailing lists. Like we're going to do an end to end. How do we let our clients that are out there that don't know about us find us, know about us, and feel really good? Because again, we're not cold calling, we're not selling double glazing. They have the problem, we have the solution. We're just trying to bring the two together. So how do we tell people and how do we help more people? Because that's what we came into this to do. We came into this job to make people feel good. So let's just make our mission bigger. Follow up. So again, this is another part that everyone rolls their eyes at, hides away from. But honestly, you will never look at follow-ups the same again. You won't feel uncomfortable. You'll realize the same as I did, because I used to hate follow-ups. I didn't like it. I got forced into doing it. And now it is a service. You learn how to follow up in a way that makes your client feel special and builds trust, not destroys it. Week four, CEO systems, because again, all this sounds like a lot because it is. It is a lot. And at the beginning, it's more work than as you go through. But I don't know about you. I love a system. I don't know if it's the former corporate girl in me or not, but I like things that just work and they just run and there's a set way they do things and it's as hands off as me as possible to take all the heavy lifting away. So I love a system. So that's what we're running through in week four, is how you set it up so you can be as hands off as possible. And lastly, it's future proofing. So this isn't just about 4 weeks. This is a framework that you can use on repeat for the rest of your business. And in the final module, that's what we'll be going through. So we'll be going through how to adapt this for things like Black Friday, flash sales, and just general BAU, so just business as usual within your business. So again, how we're saying about designing your offers around different points of the month and how to know what you're selling around different price points that your client has. So when your client's feeling skint, we're not trying to sell something that's £1,000. When she's feeling like, oh, she's been paid, I've got loads of money, that's when we present the offer that's at that price point that aligns to her. So how to design all that as well. So how to flash sale, how to do Black Friday and summer sales, because that's something that works really well for me with my memberships. We'll touch on that as well if you'd like, so that you never have to start a month again on zero. So what we get to do all that, that sounds like a lot. So intimate group coaching. So there's 10 spaces available. Like I said before, I want this to be very handhold, as much hand holding as you would like. Like it's completely up to you. Use big as much as you want to. So obviously I can't do that with a large group, so we're keeping it quite small. It's going to be 4 live calls and 4 pre-recorded calls. There's done for you templates, there's DM scripts, there's storytelling content templates, there's a lead management tools, how I was saying before about writing it all down on a piece of paper. You don't need to do that. There's group WhatsApp. And you get it all for 3 months as well. So there's no pressure to fly through it all in the 4 weeks if you really don't want to. Obviously, that is how it's designed. But you can go back and get yourself into that habit for 3 months. So I'll put numbers against, again, it counted to me. I'll put numbers against all that. That all together is worth just shy of 4K. But because we're all action taker ladies on this call and you've given up your time to learn how to sell, so I know this is something that's important to you. For 48 hours, instead of it being 497, which already is just hugely incredible, it's 297. And there are payment plans, there's Klarna available and all that great stuff at checkout. So if this is something that you're interested in, scan the QR. All the information is on there for you, everything that I've just spoken about. It's all on that page for you to reread again. And if you have any questions, I mean anything at all, that's my Instagram handle for the coaching side of things at the bottom. So it's Nicola Toon. Just DM me, voice note me, whatever it is that you need. Any questions that you've got.